Welcome and welcome back to my channel, Elemental Origins. My name is Starr. Today I'm going to enter into space with a sage, violet and rose smudge. And as I was lighting the smudge stick, all the bits of rose and violet kept falling off, and I was hearing a really strong message of, if you feel like everything is falling down around you right now, yet you feel so centered and stable, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. And that's a message to anyone that receives this reading. When it finds you, you might find this not in present time. They are all timeless readings, this chakra series, and it feels like a really significant moment whenever you receive this reading. And every reading that I think I've set up to date with the chakra series, I think I've said I'm not ready for this, but today I feel ready. And I had an absolute sob fest before setting up, and I thought, gosh, I think I just really needed that cry. And I immediately felt better. So that's confirmation for some / if you're feeling out of sorts, perhaps you need to either work it out or cry it out, and you'll come to stability. But today's chakra is the 6th chakra in the chakra series, and we are looking at the AJNA chakra, which is the third eye chakra. And if you don't know what the chakras are, they are spinning vortexes of energy placements that are in the center of the body. I would suggest doing a little bit more research into the placements and feeling into those spaces. But the third eye chakra is between the brows, and Ajna means perspective, or it can mean authority or to command. And the color for this chakra is indigo. However, I don't know why, but I've always seen the third eye as more of like a real deep purple over an indigo. So I'm sharing that for those that might align with as well. I don't know why that is, but it's always just been that in my mind's eye. And the mantra for this chakra is Om. And I brought in a lot of crystals into the mix today, but really I think really succinct crystals in their expression and their understanding. So I brought in some selenite, I brought in some moonstone, which I found interesting because often I feel like moonstone doesn't bring clarity to me. I feel like it brings a lot of emotions to the surface, but not often clarity. So I found it interesting that I've placed this at the bottom of this reading. I brought in 2 clear quartz crystals. I brought in a I can't remember the name of this crystal, but it looks like a witch's finger to me. And I think that is I want to say a garden green quartz, if I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. I brought in another clear quartz as well. I brought in the Black Obsidian's witch's hat that I cracked a long time ago. It always feels relevant to share that. I brought in the Tiger's Eye Warlock hat as well. I brought in the Tree Agate skull. I brought in the Sodalite shell. I brought the Lapis Lazuli moon and stars. I brought in Black Tourmaline. I brought in amethyst. I brought in some dark amethyst as well. I've brought in my labradorite rose. I brought in milky quartz. I brought in garnet, and I brought in hematite, and also tourmaline spear, and apatite, and the Shiva stone, and the chakra points as well. And I'm already feeling this energy, so bear with me everyone, because I also lit 3 candles today instead of 2. I normally light a candle either side for balance, but I lit a candle for my altar too, and about 2 days ago I put some Mordovite in the center of my altar, and I have to be very careful when using that stone because it just sends me to absolute energetic high voltage. So I can't have it out at all times. And I'm already feeling into this energy, but it felt aligned for those that might want to sink into that space. You are set up in my altar space. That means you're receiving all of that energy from my altar. It felt important to bring that into that space. And if you want to tap into that energy, you can do. And, anyone trying to, I guess, gain self-serving notions from being connected to my altar, I would say good luck to you at this point. My teams of light are always protecting me, so it is up to you what you do in that space. But when in balance, the third eye chakra brings a lot of mental strength and a lot of mental sharpness. You perceive things correctly and you hold good vision. But this idea of seeing into the future, I don't want to say I don't necessarily believe in, but I have such an expansive view of seeing into the future that it's hard to describe in this space. But the idea of being able to clairvoyance, that which could potentially happen, often comes directly from the third eye. So if to those that have been looking to step into their, psychic abilities, their clairvoyant abilities, the third eye chakra is going to be your best friend because it helps you gain higher understanding too. But if unbalanced, you might be feeling a lack of imagination. You might be sinking into fear often. You might suffer from migraines, impaired vision, and you might just feel quite foggy in your expression. And I love to carry some clear quartz on me at all times, and also selenite quite close to me, especially if I'm delving into aspects of deeper states of consciousness. And it feels like some of you in the collective are really trying to leap ahead at this time, and I feel like this chakra reading has come just at the right time. I'm going to shake some beans to clear some of the energy, so beware those that are wearing headphones. I'm also going to ring the little bell that I have by the side of me. And this bell always sinks me into ancient Egypt, and I'm hearing that's going to be a strong connection for today's reading. But ways that you can balance out this chakra is through eating certain foods. And the foods that were brought to my attention today were walnuts, plums, raisins, figs, drinking lavender tea, blue lotus tea, purple cabbage, aubergines, sage, peppermint, cardamom, cinnamon, wasabi, and shout out to my Jamaican friends out there, allspice. That made me laugh so much. I don't know why, but yeah, we put allspice in everything. So I thought, yeah, really tapping into that third eye chakra energy. I think that's the first time that I've sank into that notion. It made me laugh a lot. So that's to whomever that aligns with as well. But I feel like I'm not sure what this reading is going to bring, but I feel like the third eye was going to have a lot to say about perspective and future focusing expression for many. And the symbol for the third eye chakra is depicted with two petals, and then also the sign in the center. And in Hinduism, the represents the most ultimate soul and consciousness. So this idea of finding one's true energy comes through the third eye chakra, and it's very much connected to the pineal gland and the crown chakra as well, but we will get there when it's time. But I think for the perspective of today, tapping into the third eye, I want you to see this as your Mecca and your almighty space right now, because I think some of you are really having to work through aspects of self and soul. And when I'm filming this, we are smack bang in the middle of shadow season. I see why, teams of light have guided me to create this chakra series for this moment in time, because I think that there are many in the collective that are just waiting to break free and break through. And I think we've hit that point now that we are all ready to break through to the next chapter together. And that depends where you are in your journey. But I feel like everyone that is here is ready to step forward into the next bit of their perspective and their journey. So I'm excited to see what the third eye chakra wishes to share with us today. So the preface of this reading is messages from the third eye chakra. And I don't know why I always feel called to share this, but I'm drinking some berry tea today. I've actually got a really big mug that says witch's brew on the side of it, so I've got double helpings of berry tea serving without any rose today, because I already had a big cry and I thought I don't want to risk crying in the middle of this reading. Wow, and I think the sustainer came out in the last reading that I did. So we've got the sustainer, and I'm going to pull 3 from this archetypes deck. And I've been delving into a lot of information connected to Carl Jung. And we've got the comic here as well. And I really dislike this card when it comes out. But I find it interesting that it has. Am I going to take that? Okay, and we've got the bridge. So the third eye is bringing to my attention this idea of having to sustain them, having to make sure that you are taking care of them and looking after them. And when I put my moldavite on my altar, I realized that the offerings that I put on there had gone a little bit moldy. It was raspberries that I put on there, and it's very quick that these things turn. I'd even forgotten that I've put them on there specifically. So the third eye chakra is saying, clear me out often, because if you sustain me, I can be your bridge from ether, from God, from source, insert, whatever you wish is your Mecca there. They're your bridge to and from ether. And this is to those that want to put down wearing a mask. And also, this is perhaps to those that feel like they've been placed in a construct where, how am I going to word this? It's like people are making fun of you somewhere because you can see. The third eye is bringing that to attention today, because they're saying the more that you can strengthen what you know to be true within self, the less that you're going to care about either being the class clown or people labeling you as such. And you're going to be willing to take down the mask that you've been wearing for such a long time. I'm being drawn to like birthday parties here as a child. So there might be some inner child healing that the third eye is wanting you to look at, because for some of you, you're carrying burdens from times when you were younger and you don't need to anymore. And that's perhaps something that you can't see. So that's a separate message for some. And third eye is saying, please look at your inner child wounding, because it is stifling them and you in your spaces. So that's interesting. What am I going to go to next? I'm going to go to I've forgotten what this deck is called. Spirits in Nature? I think it's Spirits in Nature Oracle. What's the third eye wish to share with us today? Wow, clear quartz and focus in the number 8, and that also came out in the last reading. So working with clear quartz in the third eye is incredibly, incredibly beneficial to you. I used to sleep with clear quartz on my third eye when I was very first starting to tap into all of this energy, because I felt like it was really helping me to engage with my third eye. And I would also tap between my third eye often, and I often find myself doing this just intuitively every now and again, and it really does get the thoughts moving. And I also feel like a release at the back of my ears as well when I tap between my brows, and it's almost like everything comes into direct alignment, and I get a lot of downloads sent to my teeth too, getting quite expensive here, but for those that aligns with. So I feel like tapping between the brows releases this energy from the teeth as well. So if you have been having pressure in your teeth, it might be because you've been getting a lot of downloads, and maybe because your third eye is blocked. So grabbing some clear quartz or tapping between the brows. And I'm being told to share about EFT tapping as well to help you calm your nervous system, because the third eye energy is an energy that is so pure in its expression, and it can be quite intense, that you have to make sure that you are ready to withhold its energy and its frequency. So this idea of the sustainer is making sure that you're looking after your physical vessel as well. And sometimes when I'm doing a lot of energy work, I will find that I'm having to eat a lot more, because I'm having to sustain this energy that is being brought through my physical vessel. And although, I might not be exerting self physically, the mental mind takes up a lot of expression and a lot of calories, more than you would think. So that's a confirmation for some. If you feel like you've been eating a lot and you think, oh my gosh, why am I eating so much? I'm not doing anything, but you've been doing a lot of spiritual practices. That's because you're burning so much energy through the mind and the mental space. So that's your confirmation. But this idea of the sun and faith, I was being drawn to the sun god Ra as well before sitting down, and I knew that ancient Egypt was going to be here somewhere. And I haven't brought in my Lemurian quartz, but that's being brought through to me in this expression here, and Arizona. This idea of going on a pilgrimage to seek deeper understanding is so, so, so beneficial to some of you. And if you haven't been offered this opportunity yet, you will be. And you have to say yes. You have to say yes to this golden opportunity, because it's going to be for you. And obviously, use your discernment wisely. But to some of you, this is what you've been asking for. This is what you've been seeking. And this is to people that have been perhaps searching for love in all the wrong spaces, or you've been searching outside of self for answers. It's almost like you just have to be in a different space to receive more of the answers from self. And that's perhaps something that you haven't anticipated, / something that I think teams of light wanted to be a surprise for some, because they want to gift that to you. And for some of you, you're going to go out and find yourself, in the middle of the wilderness, in the middle of the forest. So if you have a forest nearby to you, go and explore. As soon as you've, found some time closest to viewing this reading, go and seek. Go in nature, go and seek, go take a hike, because there's something for you. Wow, fire and intensity in 15, and fire energy was coming forward before sitting down. I thought, is that in alignment? But I've been working a lot with dragon energy over the past couple of weeks, and I feel like there is an intensity that has been building up behind the scenes, because we are ready to step through to a different space of ether that I don't think we've experienced yet in this moment of our lifetimes as a collective energy, if that makes any sense. Apologies everyone, there's a lot of energy that's coming through that I'm trying to put into verbal understanding. This idea of that, we're ever stepping forward into spaces of accessing more energy and understanding, but we haven't reached those higher recesses yet. I feel like we're breaking through to reach a real high recess that I think we haven't experienced in this present given time. up until this point. So this is I don't want to say a warning, but it's coming through as a warning for some, but it's more of a marker point of, yes, everything that you've been sensing and experiencing is in complete alignment for you. And I've got tobacco and reciprocity, and for some of you, working with tobacco is incredibly beneficial for you, and you have to figure out your boundaries and what works best for you. But for some of you, you have very strong connections to the indigenous people, and their expressions of smoking tobacco in a very sacred and spiritual way. So you might want to start with leaving offerings of tobacco, or burning tobacco somewhere is beneficial for some, and I'm being drawn to the pipe. But please take what resonates, and however old you are watching this reading, take responsibility for your health and your well-being. But there is a confirmation in there for some. If you've been guided to be working with tobacco, it's for a sacred reason. So I feel like, don't judge self too harshly, some of you in the collective. That feels like a really strong message coming forward. And we're going to pull next. I'm going to pull some from the shamanic something oracle. Mystical shaman oracle. Apologies, everyone. Mystical shaman oracle. What does the third eye chakra wish to share with us today? Got the standstill and 52. I felt like there was two cards in one. Sorry, we've got 8, 38 and 39. So yeah, continuation from the sun, faith and tobacco. That's incredible. Then we've got 52. The arrow and 3. Taking any more? No. For some of you, you need to look at the shamanic wheel and where you are in your expression right now and in your journey and in your space and in your time, because it's going to hold deeper keys of understanding for you. And to some, it's almost like you shot an arrow a real long time ago, and you've forgotten, where you are aiming at in the first place. And the third eye chakra is saying that they're going to bring ultimate clarity to you the moment that you decide that you are ready for that. For some of you, you've been resisting hearing messages from your third eye or receiving downloads straight into your third eye, because it's going to cause full great change in your life. And I'm hearing some of you have really been recovering from aspects of self and soul, the past and shadow, that have been really destabilizing. So please go easy, please go well. I know that everything is brought to you in divine right timing, but for some of you, it's almost like you feel like you've already jumped off so many cliffs that you daren't jump off this last one. And the third eye is saying, please trust us, trust me, trust the divine, trust my connection that I have to those that look after you, those that care about you, perhaps the most. And for some, you might feel like you're wanting to walk away from literally everything and everyone. And I'm hearing, if that's how you are feeling, then you are in complete alignment for you. So have no guilt for this. For some of you, you are incredibly sharp in the mind, and you've been walking a path of self-understanding for a very long time. So don't turn back now. Don't guilt self now, because it feels like you feel like you're out of alignment somewhere, because you think that you should perhaps care more about how others feel about you and your situation right now. But you care about them enough to know that this is what you need to do that's going to be best for you. So trust in that expression, that understanding for whomever that aligns with. And I'm sinking into everyone's energies that is here. That's how it kind of works in this situation. And I don't feel like anyone is out of alignment if you are feeling into those notions of, I really just want to go and, explore something else and be somewhere different for a while. So go and do what it is that you are feeling in heart that you want. And I feel like it's a great need for soul to do this. And perhaps this doesn't make sense to others because they're not able to feel how you feel about a certain situation, or perhaps about your life path. And I think that can go for anyone. We can't ever truly understand what another being is going through, because it's their life and their previous lives that they've lived. But the third eye is sending a confirmation that you are incredibly aligned as a soul at this moment in time in your journey. And I want to say that that's for everyone here. And even if you know that you're wavering in shadow, that you're wavering in your expression right now, you know that you are wavering. So you are in complete alignment. If you know that you are acting out, or, perhaps not acting enough in your spaces, or and that feels in direct alignment with someone. If you're not acting in terms of, you know, performance arts, like, you know that you need to do that because self and soul is crying out for that. But this feels like everyone here knows exactly what they are doing and why they are doing it. And if we are working in shadows, sometimes, you know, we are there to learn those lessons, and that's okay. But you are in awareness of that is what you are doing. So you already have the higher perspective. And I think this gets missed often when we feel like we are making mistakes or hitting roadblocks. We think, oh gosh, you know, I must be doing something wrong, or I'm not as far as I should be on my journey. But the fact that you're aware that you're hitting a roadblock shows just how high of a perspective you already hold. So please go easier on self. The third eye chakra is saying, you see it all. Everyone has a third eye chakra. Everyone has the capacity to see, to experience, to vision future, to have access to clairvoyant abilities. And I say this to absolutely everyone. And granted, there are those that have different bloodlines and have lived different life paths. It means, you know, sometimes things come a little bit quicker and easier for them. However, I know many souls out here that are incredibly powerful, yet their vision has been the last thing to come online for them. And that's been with purpose. So if you feel stifled in your expression, it's for a greater purpose. So don't berate self right now and feel like you're not doing enough. If you come to the third eye reading and you think, gosh, you know, I've already been working with the third eye so much, why am I not being able to see? Why am I not experiencing my clairs in a different sense? You know, is it because my third eye is blocked, etc., etc.? It's not. We're just waiting for the right time for your skill set to be I guess absorbable by the collective. And I've seen this time and time again with souls I know are incredibly powerful, yet they've been stifled because, quite frankly, if they were fully awake at their full capacity, the world just would be tipped off its axis. We do not have, you know, the stability to be holding such bright souls at this moment in time. So there's your confirmation if you need it. You are just too powerful to be fully awakened right now. And, you know, sometimes I feel those marker points of energy. I feel this absolute rush of energy and frequency move through my body, and I think, oh my gosh, like, that's how we vibrate at all times in other spaces. I resonate as being a Pleiadian starseed, so I think, you know, that's how I resonate back at home, but it is so different to being here, and I feel stifled. I feel sometimes like I could just absolutely run and jump and fly, but I know that I physically can't do that right now in this body, which causes a lot of mental anguish somewhere. So I think, please have more compassion for yourself in your spaces, because I think some of you are absolutely at the brink of just wanting to, you know, break free from that which you know is a massive constraint over this world. And I'm being told that your time will come. You know, this will be a lifetime when you can actualize a lot of your gifts and your talents. So please have patience. And this is not to say that you haven't been patient, but they're saying, please, you know, make sure that you are doing what feels good to you. Make sure that you aren't, how do I want to word that? Make sure that you aren't just not enjoying your life because you feel this stifling essence. And, you know, my heart goes out to you if you feel like one of those incredibly fragmented souls out there, because it's incredibly difficult to be here when you feel in those notions and when you feel like, hey, there's so much that I feel inside that I just can't get out. And this is how I felt for the entirety of my life. I felt like there was just this burning underneath, inside of me somewhere, and I didn't know what that was. And I just kept thinking, why am I here? Why do I do the things that I do? This doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel right. But somewhere I would just snap out of that energy time and time again, and I'd have to go and just like live my life, but it would come back and I would feel incredibly confused time and time again, and it would just, I feel like I would be hitting a wall, and I'd just be really sad in those moments. And I think that many of you in this collective have resonated with that energy, and the third eye is saying they've seen it all, they've seeded it all through you, and you know, they love you and they have compassion for you. So when you hit those marker points of what am I doing, why am I here, why can't I express myself, you know, what, I feel this massive bright light within me, but no one else can see this about me, it's making me want to cry. Remind yourself that you are here for a reason. Every single soul that is alive, they are here for a reason, and there is teams of light that are protecting you and supporting you. So if you have come to this reading and you don't have, you know, some sort of spiritual practice, or you're not connected to, well, you don't think you're connected to ether, to God, to source, to energy, the universe at large, I promise you that you are. And if you're really struggling in your space, the third eye is saying, call out, you know, as to be shown, what you need to be seeding in as understanding, because they will show it to you. It's now time and you are ready. But I'm going to pull some more cards from the, oh my gosh, I've left all the boxes so I can't read them. This is Gateway of Light Activation Oracle. Well, you can't make this up. Third eye activation, brow chakra, inner vision, clear seeing. And I think I'm going to pop this in the community tab, what this actual insert says for the third eye chakra, because that's actually the front cover of the box as well. So I feel like there might be deeper expressions to come forward through the third eye in that expression, but I'm not going to share it in this reading because I want to just channel straight messages. But I've always loved that deck. It's by Kyle Gray. I find it incredibly potent in its energy and velocity and ability to connect you directly into the energies of the cards. And I don't always feel that way with certain card decks, and I feel like that's because of the creator. So I feel incredibly aligned with these what are they called? Gateway of Light Activation Oracle. Yeah, they always feel so on point. So that's might be a confirmation for some. You might want to pick up that oracle deck. But this idea of your inner vision, and the third eye is saying, what do you want? What do you want to bring into existence? Because if you can see it, you can have it. And this is very much connected to the throat chakra. And if you can speak it, it happens. So there is a connection between the third eye and the throat that needs to come into alignment before you speak out what you want. And I think some of you have been stifled in your expression because teams of light and everyone that cares about you behind the scenes didn't want you to be calling in something that you didn't want to be experiencing. And I think some of you in the collective have learned that the hard way, myself included in that. You know, I've called things into existence and then I've got it and I thought, actually, this is not what I want at all. Or it's come in, you know, way later than expected, and then I've just felt out of alignment of what the thing was that I even called in. So there's a confirmation for some. You know, perhaps if you've been receiving things of late and you think, why is this happening? Because you called it in at some point, so it does have to circle back into your perspective, but you might have outgrown the thing that you've been calling in the first place. So remember that, everyone. The third eye is saying you have the ability to change anything, but you have to vision it first. And this is often something that I think gets missed when we are expanding and we are trying to, you know, gain traction in perhaps manifestation or monetary value or you know, the world around us, whatever you're wanting to experience, and you have to be able to visualize. And I think there is often a fear that definitely comes from the solar plexus and the heart chakra. There's a fear of, you know, if I think about it too much, perhaps it won't happen, or if I do think about it and I don't receive it, then I'm going to feel disappointed. But that notion is just a limiting belief in itself, and I feel like that is going to be the thing that has been holding back potentially a lot of the collective here. This idea of not wanting to ask for something in case we get disappointed that we don't receive it. But we will always receive what we ask for. It just comes in divine right time, or it comes in a better version for us that, you know, those that have a bird's eye view of our life know that we actually need. So be gracious in what you've received of late, because sometimes what we think that we want and what we actually receive are two very different things. And sometimes we receive things that bird's eye view, teams of light know is going to be best for us in the long run. So you're going to have to use discernment where you are right now. But the third eye is saying that you see everything. So sit and ask to be shown the truth of anyone or any situation so that you can just receive. But once you've received that information, know that that is your truth and do not waver in that expression. And that's an expansive message because, you know, sometimes energies can infiltrate and you have to make sure that you are cleansing yourself and your spaces, etc., etc. But I'm talking about those that know that they are doing this. What you see is your truth, and you have to stand such, and you have to stand on, what's that phrase? You have to stand on business in that space. And for some of you, this is about a business venture too. You have to be able to envision what you want to be experiencing in order to bring it in. And for some, your life path is so completely out of your hands that, you know, everything is already written in the stars for you. And I definitely feel like this is how I feel about my life path, because things have happened that I just did not expect. And I feel like anytime I strategically plan for something, you know, something completely different comes in and I think, oh, okay, this was how it's supposed to be. But that has happened often. That has happened time and time and time again, which doesn't mean, you know, I don't give up planning for things, but I just let the universe bring to me that which I know that they have sent to me for an entrusted reason. And so many of you are perhaps just on the precipice of receiving some things in. So I want to say be gracious in what you receive, because sometimes, it's a blessing in disguise what happens to you in your life. And I think this is perhaps for those that have gone through a lot of pain, a lot of heartache. It's like long-term view, bird's eye view. Teams of light have been bringing incidences and things to happen in your situation, in your life, so that you can receive in the long run. So the third eye is saying you can trust them. And even if you feel like you can't trust anything else around you, you can trust that the third eye won't lie to you. They will always show you clarity in all spectrums of understanding. They say that they will show you it all, and then you have to decide which reality I guess you want to stand in. And that's getting incredibly expansive there, but this is for those souls that know that they can timeline jump and do that often. The third eye will always show you every possibility, but it's up to you where you decide to jump in, / if a window of opportunity opens up for you, if a portal opens up for you. I believe we're smack bang in the middle of the portal in this eclipse season. If a portal has opened up for you, you have to take the light. You have to take the light and jump forward to the opportunities that are brought forward to you, because if you don't, you're going to really regret it. And it feels like such a strong notion. I was not expecting messages like this from the third eye, but it's like, don't live in fear. Please do not live in fear. The third eye is saying, please do not live in fear. I won't steer you wrong. Wow. Spirit messages: observe limitations. And I'm going to see this as a hummingbird, a crow, or a raven. And I've got the I'm going to call it the crow or the raven feather there. It felt significant to leave that in. Wow. Ascended Masters create open communication. And the third eye chakra allows for you to communicate to those in ether, to, divine spaces, and it connects you to the upper realms. And the card at the bottom of the deck of this is Illuminating Shadow, Focus on a Solution 21. And I'm hearing, to those that have been avoiding shadow work or being fearful of shadow work, your third eye is your best friend in those spaces, because they will always bring you back to center. So if you feel like you're getting lost in shadow, ask for your third eye to show you that which you are. And I found this an incredibly daunting task when I was very first opening up to ether expanse and I guess enlightenment somewhere, because I was shown all of my shadow and just how I guess out of alignment I've been living for a very long time. And there are many aspects of self and how I'd been living that I was incredibly ashamed of, how I behaved in certain situations, how I was self-sabotaging for a really long time. I really suffered with substance abuse and alcohol for a massive portion of my life. And I was just completely sabotaging self and situations around me time and time again, because I didn't feel worthy. And I hated myself for that. I hated that I brought so much self-loathing to my own plate. And I had to sit and face all of that. And amongst all of that shadow, I started to see the glimpses of light and, all the reasons why I was a good person, the ways that I have behaved good. And, inverted commas good, not sure what that means right now. I've done a whole section of understanding connected to sin. And perhaps I'll tag that video when I release it this week. Because I think that's a very skewed notion as well. And actually, I feel like the third eye can be very much connected to that idea of sin. The third eye will always bring you clarity in your spaces. But this idea of, if you are lost in shadow right now, ask to be shown everything and just dare to face it. Dare to face it all. And specifically for those that have been wanting to expand, the third eye is saying that you have to be able to dare to see it all in order to expand. And the way that the chakras work is that if they're all in alignment, then you are, completely balanced in your space. But at certain times, we can take certain knocks depending on, where we are in our life path and what we've been through, that certain chakras can be out of alignment. But the third eye is saying that they are the center point of expression. And I do feel that. I feel like there is a, how do I want to word this? It's like a buildup of energy when you go from the root to the sacral to the solar plexus to the heart chakra to the throat chakra. And I thought, actually, as soon as you hit that third eye chakra, it's like doors of everything open up to you in all spaces, connecting to all the chakras down below that at a different capacity. And I realized that I felt ready, and I was actually looking forward to this reading, because I feel like the third eye chakra and above isn't connected to 3D space of alignment. And I've been in my own shadow expression of late. I've been having to deal with a lot from my past, and a lot that has been plaguing me and paining me this lifetime. And every time I've come to any of these chakra readings, I've just thought, gosh, I'm bringing in all of this expression. I've been feeling my own pain behind the scenes with every chakra that I've brought forward to this point. But I thought the third eye is not connected to this 3D realm. It's not connected to that pain. So I was excited to be able to sit in the space and just let all the energy just flow freely for myself, sat in the space. Granted, you can't feel my energy, although some of you might be able to. But I was feeling all of my pain as I was trying to bring messages forward through you. And I said that I knew that I was growing through these spaces with you. And, there's been purpose to that. And you're all stripping away, blockages by seeding in this expression, especially those that know that they do and have worked with the chakras for a real long time. This is about you gaining deeper knowledge of self and being willing to say, hey, I'm going to sit through this, even though I feel like I know a lot already. You are perhaps gaining the most because you are dropping ego as you sit here and receive these messages. So that is a confirmation for you. Congratulations. And also, you see everything. These eyes are absolutely burning into my soul. And this idea of blue eyes, this was coming forward yesterday, and I was connecting it to Sirius and Andromedan understanding. And that's not specific to those expressions, but I felt like that was confirmation for some. And I'm being drawn to the phoenix here. So the fire in the phoenix and dragons, the puma. I'm hearing penguins. I am hearing giraffe and leopard and tiger. I am seeing a pigeon. I am seeing another penguin. I am also seeing a raven, and I don't know what this bird is called, but I can see it in my mind. So remind me, it's like black, and then it's got like a silver top, like a grey topped head, and it's got a very thin beak. It was like a kiwi beak, but straighter. So that's confirmation for some. If you live near those animals, or you feel like you want to journey with those animals, please do. And I'm being drawn to the foxglove here, and the heart and veins and circuit boards and tektite crystals, and I have my moldavite on my altar, so you're all receiving into that energy if you want to, but working with technology and angelic frequencies connecting to the third eye is a really potent expression I'm hearing. Third eye is saying that they work very well with technology, but also the etheric spaces. And for some of you, I'm seeing like expressions of robots and AI and almost like Blade Runner. Some of you might want to watch the Blade Runner movies. You're going to receive activations from the third eye in that space. Love that for you. Wow, I do good. And the eye is closed here. And this being crying. Some of you, you've been reading a lot of religious doctrine, or at least you might be guided to that expression of soon, or of late you have been doing that. And the more that you can sink into how you feel rather than the words that you've been experiencing, the quicker that you're going to advance in your processes. I relate in peace. I do good and I relate in peace. Yeah, this idea of being good and doing good. So I'm definitely going to share the channeling from the angelic council that I've done connected to sin and what that means, because I think it's going to be very helpful for some of you. And I know that the idea of angels splits the crowd. I've always seen them as spaces of energy. Very early on, connecting into ether and expanse, I was hearing galactic energy and angel energy are one and the same, and I was just seeing light beings. And the angelic council that I work with is fronted by Metatron, Michael, and also Lucifer in that expression. So, trigger warning on that, and how you receive those energies is going to be up to you. But I feel like the third eye is highlighting that reading for all of you here. And we've got another hummingbird. I converse with awareness. And the more that you work with the third eye chakra, the more in alignment you're going to feel, and the easier it's going to be able to work with others. So for those that have been perhaps fearful of connecting with others, whether this be in a platonic sense, in the romantic sense, or working with others, the more that you can work with your third eye, the safer that you will feel like you can connect with those from an authentic space. I'm open to love in various forms. And yeah, some of you have been missing the third eye and this expression of love, because actually, you need to be in balance with the third eye so that you can see yourself properly. And I'm seeing this as the actress that plays, what is it? Alice in Wonderland, in the most recent expressions of Alice in Wonderland. And I can't remember her name, but I'm also hearing Mia Goth, and that's not the same person, but I'm being brought forward those expressions. I'm not entirely sure why. I feel like there's a massive film buff here, myself in that included, but I don't feel like those messages are for me. This is for someone else. So there's your confirmations as well. I can be trusted, and the feather light of Ma'at there. So you might want to look into the idea of Ma'at and weighing the feather light heart, because for some of you, you aren't seeing clearly because you haven't put into alignment your heart chakra, your solar plexus, your heart chakra, or your sacral chakra, your solar plexus, and your third eye, or your throat chakra and your third eye. Those are the expressions that are being brought forward to me. I feel like everyone is very grounded here. So it's the chakras above that we're going to have to take a second, third, fourth, fifth look at. And specifically those connected to the divine feminine. It's this throat chakra that I feel like we are all working through collectively in this space right now. And this is definitely to my Lemurian sisters out there. I see you, I feel you, I hear you. And I feel like there is just like a humming that is coming from the water to us to be spoken through to us. I feel like the siren's call is our own siren's call that we've put out for ourselves to shine so bright right now. And I'm getting kind of off topic, but it's coming through, and I knew there was going to be a few messages like this. But this idea of you singing your own song, and that being the state that you feel most in balance. The third eye chakra is saying that they're here to help you be in balance of most authentic self. But I'm going to end on some oracle, and I had planned to pull tarot, but yeah, it doesn't feel in alignment, so I'm not going to. But I'm going to end on the Mother Rose Oracle, which is by Rebecca Campbell. I absolutely love this deck, and it was an incredibly healing deck for me to receive the time that I felt aligned for me to anchor in this energy. And I didn't like a rose scent until very, very late in my life. I was in my, I want to say I was in my 30s before I started to like a rose scent, because I feel like it was just going to unlock too much of my energy that was from such an ancestral deep space that it just wasn't time. The sun, joy, enjoyment, life force, success, vitality, and play. This idea of fire and the sun is coming through so strongly with this third eye, and I was not expecting this energy, but I felt it. And I used an orange lighter for lighting all the candles, and my lighters hold specific energies and colors for me, so I'm always careful as to which ones I'm using at specific times, because I want to be anchoring in the right amount of energy and expression. But this idea of the sun is very real and here, and I've been working with the sun for a little while at a deeper capacity than usual. And I was reminded of my son, who's in was from a different lifetime, that I was connected to this lifetime, and they are incarnated here as somewhere else right now. And I hadn't thought about them for a little while. Perhaps that was why I burst into tears, but it was like a feeling of coming home for some is just on the horizon. So don't lose faith and hope, because you've been working towards something for so long. Why would you think it's not going to come into fruition? The third eye is saying to you. You are the sun, and for some of you, your sun holds the most amount of light for your family moving forward, and that's, no pressure on them, but you've seen this in them, so don't be worried about them, because they're going to be able to take care of themselves, is what I'm hearing. Those are very specific messages. Please, only take what resonates and leave the rest behind. And yeah, apologies that everything has been so expansive, it's felt like, within this space, everyone. But yeah, the third eye has a lot to share, but I think it's very elusive energy right now, because so many of us are working through very personal things. But just this idea of the circle and the spiral and the vortex and the portal space is very real. Signs, the universe has been gently nudging you towards, nudging you forward by revealing to you signs and synchronicities. The universe has gently been nudging you forward by revealing to you signs and synchronicities. The universe has been gently nudging you forward by revealing to you signs and synchronicities. So pay attention, everyone. Stillness, reflect on the moment with love, kindness, and compassion. Reflect on this moment with love, kindness, and compassion. Reflect on this moment with love, kindness, and compassion. I was hearing reflect on the moment, so reflect on all moments with love, kindness, and compassion, specifically those that might be working through shadow work right now, that might be dealing with aspects of the past, and specifically if you start to deal with inner child healing, this idea of not playing the victim but being the main character in your own life, and seeing that anything that has happened to you up until this point has been there to shape you. And I really apologize to anyone that's been in very extreme circumstances as a child. Please know that, anything that is seated in that space was there for an understanding with you, but seek help where you need it. And it can often be a very challenging thing to admit to self, was that, soul has always chosen well, not always, most of the time has chosen what is going to happen to us in our lifetime. And I know that splits the crowd, but that's the information that I get behind the scenes, even in the most horrific of senses. And there is a whole paradigm that is connected to this that is very, very expensive, that I'm not necessarily going to bring into this space today. But, you know, there are those that seek very, very self-serving expressions here, and they hijack our understanding and our life path. So, you know, my heart goes out to you if you've been a soul that's been affected by that notion, because no one deserves to feel in pain. You know, and it breaks my heart to hear that anyone has been in pain, let alone a child. And, you know, in my certain spaces, I see myself helping and rescuing children, and that is part of why I'm here, as part of my life path. And I'm grateful for that space, but it is it is particularly challenging when going into those spaces. And yeah, my throat has just felt like it's completely closing up out of nowhere. So that's a confirmation for you. And I think to those that have been coughing of late, or you've been having problems with your throat, connecting to the inner child is really going to help you heal everything. The third eye is saying that the throat and the third eye is very much connected for some of you. And I'm going to pull this as the last card. Inner alchemy. Inner alchemy is achieved when you react to fear with love. Inner alchemy is achieved when you react to fear with love. Inner alchemy is achieved when you react to fear with love. And I'm going to place that right on top of the sun card here. I'm here working with Venus, working with the planets, working with your signs and synchronicities. And I put out a video connected to a soul that I've been working with for some time, and they were guiding us through different signs and expressions that are connected to our personal life path. So I'm going to tag that in the description below, because that might be for some as well, but it's pretty expansive expression over there. This soul is, you know, connected to some pretty dark and harrowing expressions somewhere, but we receive the lightest vibration of them. But I feel like these signs and synchronicities have been coming forward, and the third eye very much works in tandem with symbols, signs and logos and shapes, sacred geometry. And I was thinking of the platonic solids before I sat down as well, so you might want to look into those, because they align with the chakra points as well. So you might want to work in tandem with those if you've been particularly stuck with a chakra that you know that you've been working with for some time. I think working with sacred geometry in that space, the Fibonacci spiral is being brought forward to my mind's eye specifically now as well. So working with a lot of clear quartz and crystals to enhance the third eye is going to be really beneficial for a lot of you in your spaces. But I think that best be all for myself and the third eye today. Apologies if this has felt a little bit scattered, everyone. I could feel just a lot of energy coming in. I brought in the Moldavite, which was definitely a curveball for this expression. It always puts me completely on my back. So go easy, please go well. Please make sure you've drank a lot of water after receiving this reading specifically, and that goes with all the chakra series, but this one I feel like is holding a very, very, very significant frequency that we are all receiving. So please make sure that you are looking after yourself. If you would like an extended reading or to work with me, I consider myself to be a quantum I don't even know, a quantum worker at this time. I hate saying the word healer, so a quantum worker at this time, because I believe everyone heals themselves. They're just those that give us those tools and help us out every now and again for us to align with our own energy. I'm a Reiki master, and I connect to a lot of different spaces of ether, of expanse, of ancestral energy, and devas and spirit animals out here. So let me know if you feel aligned with working with me, if that's something that you'd like to discuss. We can hop on a call together. But that's all for myself and the third eye chakra today, everyone. Please go well, and trust that what you see is your truth somewhere, and you're allowed to see it in that expression for self. But that's all for myself today. Take care.